most of the time player. So he is going to pick up the one that wasn't banned here, the Bard. And that does mean, in fact, that the Sett will be going top, as you alluded to before.
Extremely short-range comp here from DAMWON.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the synergy that you necessarily get between Kalista and Bard. It does give you a little bit more lane presence, absolutely, but the Fate's Call not going to be as great against a champion that does like to play around with ranges and also utilize the magical journey in order to create distances and gaps and cosmically bind people together and things like that. But we'll see what BeryL is going to do. Fate's Call is a Fate's Call, and you still get that knock-up. Yeah. Especially with the range interaction. It does help you out. Get the knock-up into the stun. Can be something that works, but we'll see whether they're going to be able to do it. DAMWON, we know, are ready to fight as soon as the game has started, as Deft is galloping out onto the lane. Just adorable. Can we put the horse away now? We're not allowed mounts in this game.
I just... Not yet.
Not yet.
League of Legends 2.
Hey.
Coming to you in 2022. Imagine
Stop
it actually
rhyming.
came out.
You were rhyming so much yesterday as well.
Imagine if that actually came out and like I just.
I remember a MOBA that had mounts in it. Do you remember that?
No.
No, you don't?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
If you're talking about MMOs, I mean, still waiting on that right MMO. Still waiting.
And in the meantime, we'll talk about WoW.
Yeah.
Okay, DRX though, they are just fanning out. No shenanigans here in the early game that we can see thus far. ShowMaker hanging out with his bottom lane. That's all right. Looks like Canyon's going to go for a solo red start. And you can see Pyosik moving down to his own. As Unsealed Spellbook for Chovy started off with the Ignite, making sure he has as much lane presence as possible. And Doran is ready to just hit Nuguri with things, who has taken the Fleet Footwork because he just wants to make sure he can stay in the lane.
Yeah, Fleet Footwork here. He's got Biscuits. He does also have perfect timing. So you will have that stopwatch here, I believe, later on in the game, which can be very useful, especially for if you consider TF Rek'Sai. Obviously, they like to put their two CCs together, but if you can stopwatch the gold card, it will be a little bit harder for them to just one-shot you. Yep. You could try to Kingslayer your way back to some gold, or rather health, as there's a lot of poking down here on the bottom side. Can't expect that from the Senna, especially.
Yep. It's a sustain lane on both sides. Weirdly enough, it's coming from the 80 carry this time around for DRX's side of the matchup, but works very similarly. And they'll probably be playing some Biffo. You saw Ghost's stats. Actually, back when he was playing for BBQ, his stats on the Kalista were quite high. It was one of the picks that we'd often talk about when it comes to Ghost. As Doran does just frustrate Nuguri over and over again. As this is the lane that we kind of just want to watch forever. We're okay with, like, Jonah Strong, if you could just, like, keep it here for the remainder. Yeah. We can pop down to the bottom lane maybe sometimes, but we don't need to go top. We don't need to look at the jungle. Let's just watch Chovy versus ShowMaker.
You can see the before Gen G and after Gen G stats of Nuguri. Very specific. I do want to show you the solo kills. He's got LCK's second most at 8.
Damn.
Up in the top lane. I mean, you can consider that the solo laners are going to get more solo kills than a lot of the other specific lanes, but generally stats, we talk about it just in the case of your own position. But when we say LCK second, that means, of course, second in the LCK. So Nuguri has been just getting better and better in terms of his performances ever since they did lose that Gen G series.
See Chovy standing very far up in this lane, making sure that he can pressure ShowMaker as much as possible. Range versus melee matchup. I think these are our two best melee into range players in the mid lane. I almost get confused when I'm talking about them because I feel like both of them just manage to get farm in matchups that they shouldn't be as capable of doing so. You can see ShowMaker doing a pretty good job so far, although he is down by 7 as it is right now. But we illustrated, I mean, Chovy is the laner, right? ShowMaker is the game winner. But Chovy is on more of that game-winning champion in the TF. We'll have to see where this first Destiny Gate is going to go, as Deft is going to find BeryL, who's not going to hit too many of his abilities. Deft gets a fair bit of damage down, Piercing Darkness to take him down to 200.
I think that Keria spotted that ward or something, because there were a couple of pings that came out as they were challenging in there. even though the Scryer's Bloom was hit, I didn't see any pings onto it, so I thought maybe DRX missed it. But not the case. The junglers both kind of just mirroring each other, going for full clears. They're now going to go clear the Krugs, try to get as much XP as possible. And actually, so far, we haven't really seen too much proactive plays, too many proactive plays in this game. Canyon is potentially looking for the top side.
Yeah, you can see Nuguri's pretty frustrated at Doran at the moment, so you could imagine that Canyon probably requested, as Doran does have a ward towards the bottom side. There's the flash face breaker, though. Only level 5 for Nuguri, as Doran will have another movement speed buff coming up. Great slow onto 2 members, but the Q's going to land from Canyon. He's going to get snared, and Doran shouldn't have to flash here. He even gets himself a grass proc.
Yeah, I don't know about committing to the flash by Nuguri. I mean, I think up against Karma, I mean, he could just run away from you against the 2 melee minions, 2 melee champions. They felt like minions in that play.
Yeah.
He just sat there super calm, got the tether onto Lee Sin, didn't allow him to do anything. They're not level 6, so you didn't see any kicks or anything like that. So Karma was super safe.
Definitely a lot of reserve play coming out from Doran, though. We have seen him be a little bit finicky in the past. Skittish, one could say. So holds onto the flash, plays it as cool as possible. It's good to see from a player that we've had our doubts about recently.
Ghost and BeryL just calmly 3 CS ahead.
Whoa.
Down to the bottom side once this wave gets cleared. That's always nice when you're going up against Deft and Keria. Probably the best bottom lane duo in the game. Well, I suppose in the LCK, we should say.
But still, I mean, I feel like the matchup does okay for DAMWON here. And this isn't your quintessential Ghost lane. This is back to, you know, lane power comfort for Ghost instead of just on Senna and Ezreal duty, which has been a bit of an issue for his stats. Canyon here towards the bottom side. We'll see whether DAMWON do go for this Cloud Drake. A bit unfortunate for whoever gets an early lead, but that's the only prize that you're going to get. That is fine. ShowMaker looking to try and steal away this rev. Pyosik is in position. Keria trying to move on over as well. Not going to get too much vision there, as Canyon is just going to take that one away. Pyosik does have a ward, but otherwise nothing doing. DRX a slight advantage, largely coming from mid lane and top.
Especially because it is TF. Whenever we're just sitting here and it's
like, probably just mid.
Yeah, we saw the total gold
anything.
and he's like 300 gold ahead of ShowMaker, even though they're like the same CS. I'm like, well, that's pretty nice.
Must feel good, mustn't it?
Yeah, that's. I think that is just part of the reason that TF gets picked. It's because you can go even in pretty much any lane, maybe even get ahead, and then you're also just going to be ahead because of your passive. So. Not to mention all of his other great parts of his kit, obviously. So just because of that, it's a very safe and easy pick to get into your comp.
Yep.
You can go with a lot of different things. You can go for pick comps, you can go for hardcore.
Ooh, they're looking for Ghost here. There's the Destiny magical journey, but is able to click it before that gold card comes out. But Deft is following the Ignite, ticks down. Knockup comes through from Pyosik as well, as it's a double kill for our first couple on the side of DRX.
That was a great setup. I mean, we were just waiting for Chovy to make it happen with that one. You can see that DAMWON are going to try to get other objectives. I think this Rift Herald should be theirs. The mid plates could go to their side as well. The TPs are going to come out with the Unsealed Spellbook that Chovy did pick up here. And also at the same time, DRX are going to get that first drink. So overall, definitely a big win here to the side of DRX.
Oh, and item timings are just a straight up man immune as soon as Deft goes back home with that 1-0-1. So a brilliant, brilliant first purchase for the Senna to try and help get her moving here in this game. You saw wasn't doing a lot of damage in the bottom side. Now ShowMaker going to come over and they're going to add a bit of insult to injury here by stealing away the blue buff as well. Blue available on DAMWON's side of the Rift, but I don't know whether DRX have enough map control to steal that one away. Still definitely good news as Pyosik might just tunnel on in here, but does have the Tremor Sense, so knows where Canyon is. Now just going to actually look to try and jump on top of him. There's the tunnel forward, kick back just to deny the knockup. As now Destiny's going to be stolen away. Flash used by Pyosik intelligently as well, as would have definitely fallen enough damage available here for DAMWON. Nuguri did have the inside track. So, they get the Dawning Shadow out of Deft, as well as the flash out of Pyosik. No kills just yet for DAMWON.
Yeah, it's very clean disengage from Canyon. I feel like he's our most confident kicker, if you will, with Lee Sin. He always seems to know the exact right time to go for it, and that time he was like, no, I know TF's coming, I'm not going to be baited into this. But it would have been interesting to see if they did get baited into it, and it turned into kind of like a 2-on-2. But we're going to take a look here at how this started. That low range from Ghost, I mean, that kind of gets him in trouble. It gets him in range to get rooted by the Senna, and then the rotation was already coming down. So it was great timing from DRX, as Deft is just easily able to time that one. It's like, okay, I got my ult. The second he says that, they are already going.
Yeah. Keria, I believe, had already engaged, actually. But doesn't look as silly as it did in their last matchup against KT. There was definitely some disconnects this time around. It's the aggression that we've gotten used to from DRX.
Yeah. There weren't any other words that were said by Chovy. It's just like, yeah, I have ult. And then the entire team, without saying anything, as is the CV Max way, I suppose, just go down there and make a play 4v2. The jungler, Canyon, was up on the top side, and ShowMaker wasn't in position to get a Destiny Gate off himself. So there wasn't really any, follow-up reaction that DAMWON had. So they just had to get some other kind of objectives on the map. They did get the Rift Herald. They got a decent chunk of Pyosik's jungle. And now they're going to look for some kind of play. BeryL is on the move here, as is Pyosik up to the top side.
Yep, Doran holding onto this minion wave. Canyon waiting to try and get a few of these plates for ShowMaker in the mid lane. Chovy pretty safe at the moment, though, as Chain Lash comes in, and they just decide to brute force it. Pyosik just wandering up the lane here. He's going to try and do the same thing, but BeryL's going to turn up as well. And so Shelly will get a lot of value. Keria had already started moving over, so they had an idea that something like this was going to happen. The DAMWON do get a lot of plate money.
Yeah, that was not your everyday Rift Herald maneuver. As we might get some action here. No, they're just going to back away. He saw Pyosik up on the top side. I think the second that happened, he just immediately safeguarded onto a minion and popped it right away because he knew that the response from DRX would be slow and that they wouldn't have a lot of people around the mid side. Of course, BeryL on the Bard is going to have a lot more mobility than the Braum, so he was there before the Braum as well. They're able to get essentially just some free plates down. I think they got 3 in total from that play. Now they're engaging once again.
Is the Destiny. Tempered Fate just onto Pyosik, as Canyon had successfully stolen away the red buff, but I believe he's going to donate it back again. Keria takes down the kill, I believe, with a tick. Oh, nope, that's Exhaust. Doesn't have Ignite. Somehow Deft wasn't able to get it with the ultimate. And that is Canyon taking a red, but immediately giving it back.
We've seen that a lot in recent times where the teams are like, yeah, we've got a Lee Sin, we can just go in there and take your red buff and you should be able to hop the wall. But a lot of times it seems like the blue teams are just seeing it coming very early on and they're able to collapse. I mean, Keria was there way ahead of the play. He was able to get that knock-up. And then, of course, the follow-up from TF, which is always going to get there ahead of ShowMaker, who has been having a difficult time so far following the TF. And based on what I've been seeing recently, I mean, the Sylas hasn't really been having much success, even in this matchup as a whole for his team.
Yeah, it's the most invisible ShowMaker's actually been, I think, all season, to be honest. As the Tempered Fate, you can see why it was a good idea, but DAMWON knew exactly what they wanted to do. Chovy gets in here at exactly the right time. And Keria somehow punches him in the face from over the wall to grab that kill. Perplexing, to say the least.
It's the leeway. As he's flashing, the attack is already...
His fist is already in the air.
It's already happening, so it comes in before the flash. But you do have a fight here, though.
All right, BeryL's tagged up. Stun comes down from the concussive blows as Chovy is behind the back of the pit. Keria trying to get into position. Pyosik doing the same thing. Steals it away with a casual smite. Gold card's in there. Showstopper into the backline for Nuguri. Doesn't find all the value with the face breaker as Deft. Trying to kite this one out. Wants to make it back to his team, but he's not going to be able to. DAMWON just rolling over the team fight. They lose the Drake, but they kill 4 of DRX's members.
That was a pretty massive Tempered Fate from BeryL that lined up a couple of them, and that's what we were talking about, you know? You throw them in and you have so much follow-up CC, and the AoE damage even that was coming out of ShowMaker, out of Ghost as well, just to get right on top of them was insane. So even though Pyosik was able to get in there and steal away the dragon, which is very valuable, they are going to lose a lot on this map on top of the kills that did come in here. So we see it gets low. Pyosik just barely in range. And then this huge Tempered Fate. He's able to line them up. Sett brings Keria out of the way with the Unbreakable so he can't block for his teammates. And the two guys that were in the Tempered Fate do 0 damage.
Yeah,
they get stunned. Yeah, and from there it was a 5-on-3. So
really nice stuff here for DAMWON as Nuguri goes down towards the bottom side, takes that turret. And now DAMWON with a pretty comfortable 1,000 gold lead. Keria not going to be broken today as BeryL. Also not going to be able to take down that control ward. A little bit unlocked from the lane is Keria now. Looks like DRX are unperturbed. They're going to take down Shirley as best they can. Canyon's not going to find that Q. Chovy moving towards this Rift Herald. Does have Destiny if he wants to use it. Scuttler to go down as well as DAMWON looking for yet another Scuffle. ShowMaker, Chain Lash onto 2. Good damage. The Abduct is not going to connect. Not the Abscond. Thank you very much for everyone who gave me that feedback. As Q, empowered there from Doran, and it is just going to be Canyon locking away his second Herald of the game. And DRX not having much of an answer as Destiny towards the bottom side, and Chovy is going to begin his split pushing.
You can see the response here. They're forcing a TP out of DAMWON. As we saw, the win rate with the gold lead at 15 is pretty insanely high for DAMWON. They've only lost 1 game and they've won 11 when they do have this gold lead. And that, well, Shirley got lost.
Yeah, she got a little bit confused, didn't she? She's still going to get her charge off, though. Although DRX not going to allow their turret to fall, and no plates are going to go along with it. As Chovy down towards the bottom side once again. He's ahead by quite a long way. Has his Sheen now completed. 8 stacks on his Rod of Ages, so had that one complete very early. There's Doran here in the mid lane just wanting to build towards his Athene's Unholy Grail as soon as he can. See how that is going to go. Puts Nuguri on the tether. And the Haymaker is going to be avoided pretty nicely here. Karma is a frustrating champion to deal with if you're melee.
Sett just runs up to her, gets like a full combo. She still has full health somehow.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. She's kind of unbreakable in herself, going for the Frozen Fist. Up against this,
it was running out.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you just got to use it to fuck your passive, you know?
Yeah, not a bad idea. Take a look at this. The Sett going for Trinity Force here. I know a specific someone would be very happy with this one. And it's interesting, too, because on his team he has Lee Sin, he's got Kalista, but the idea is the Sett himself is going to be doing a lot more damage, even more so than the potential armor breaking that you do get from the Black Cleaver. And you can see he's already 2-0 after that last fight, so I think probably with that huge influx of gold, he was able to pick that up, and the Caulfield's Warhammer.
Yeah, 30% CDR already done. So much movement speed as well. With his Boots of Swiftness, he's going to be boosting it around this map. Sett certainly love their movement speed. Death Stance on the way. Getting pretty close to being completed as well, as Ghost is just holding down the fort in the mid lane. Same to be said for ShowMaker bottom side. And Doran's moving back top lane, with Nuguri about to be there as well. So I feel like we've gone back to a weird laning phase after a lot of these turrets have been broken. DRX need to start taking some on this map. No Heralds available to try and help out. But Athene's is done, as is Lichbane. So, and is Black Cleaver. It's a big moment here for DRX. Black Cleaver not exactly the highest of value, but does add that extra 10% CDR. And if you can get a few of those spells over the team, then Deft will be doing some relevant damage and helping out Pyosik.
Yeah. And I suppose it's good that he didn't go for any kind of Validity just yet. It's a more expensive build, but he's going to be going up against potentially stacking Mountain Drakes here from DAMWON, which is going to be really difficult for DRX to punch through. They already don't have a huge amount of damage in their lineup Karma's not going to have much pen. TF isn't going to build any pen. They have Senna and Rek'Sai behind that. Rek'Sai is building towards a Black Cleaver himself, I suppose, so they'll have 2 at least. But they're both also not, they're not attacking a lot, right? Senna doesn't have the highest attack speed in the game or anything like that. And Rek'Sai, he's kind of just all-inning at most times. He's not going to be able to stack that up for his team. So I feel like if DAMWON just sit back, try to, look for engages when DRX come into them, but at the same time pick up Mountain Drake after Mountain Drake, and everybody's got a defensive item where they stack their resistances, DAMWON's going to be in a really good spot here in this game. I think at the same time, they also don't want to go too late game because I think that DRX will have the advantage there, but if they can slowly stack up some Drakes and then try to, push to end around, 30 to 35 minutes, I don't think that's a bad win condition for DAMWON at all.
Nope. I think DRX's comp is going to become very frustrating as the game goes on if DAMWON don't quickly get to some Grievous wounds. They've already got the Athenes done, but the Ardent Sensor is coming in very quickly for Doran. And Deft also has so much healing. Keria is going to be mitigating so much damage. Chovy's going to be frustrating from the sidelines and getting all of that poke down. Pyosik doesn't really matter, but she can burrow under the ground and get a bunch of health back there. Great. But not exactly what we're going to be worried about. It's Magical Journey going to get DAMWON to safety here.
Yeah. The Bard is a very interesting pick. Just along with this, we were talking about how we really don't see Kalista Bard ever, very rarely. And it offers a lot of mobility and pick for this team that has such short range and
I think
already
has on 1 health.
Yeah, already has a ton of mobility. It's a very cool pick, and it's also a BeryL specialty, so I do like it here in this game. Take out that 1 health turret on top of it all.
Nicely done. Blade of the Rune King completed here for Ghost. Heading towards his Runans pretty quickly as there's the flash knock-up onto BeryL. They want to take away the Bard, but Fate's Call exists, guys. So you're not going to be killing him. That was a flash invested and an ultimate.
Yeah.
Just for Ghost's Arbor.
And BeryL,
Oh, he did have to flash. I guess BeryL did flash. That's something.
He did.
Mirror Mana Transformation on Deft. You had a creative word for that last night.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. It came out of absolutely
Mirror Mana
nowhere.
Transformation?
Yeah, no, you just called Mirror Mana a really weird name because, like, you had a malfunction or something. It was very
Manamura or something?
Yeah, it was
like...
Manamura Noonanura. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like me.
Yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I actually felt like it added to the broadcast.
Yeah, I sometimes unconsciously make up words. I don't know why that happens. Some malfunctions going on in the brain, I suppose.
Yep, that's all right.
And it does feel like we are having a little bit of lag here in this game. We haven't had much action. It's basically like, yeah, get over here, I got you.
And he did. Which should have been pretty obvious.
There's like so little action in this
DragonX
game
well.
that they wanted to show the replay of Ghost saying exactly what you would expect him to say in that situation. Like there wasn't even any interesting quip that he had.
Oh, Tempered Fate going to be avoided there by Doran. Just presses an E. And is going to be A-OK. And he's just walking the set. Good sidesteps though here from Doran. I feel like his mechanics have been a bit better here today. It's definitely good. I know it's karma, so mechanics is a weird word, as BeryL's going to magically journey his way to his own jungle. Oh, okay. DAMWON are looking for a fight. They have an elixir on ShowMaker. They understand that trying to get towards this next Drake or trying to get towards the Baron is going to be important. Great sidestep and teleport in here. As Doran does have flash available, ShowMaker looking to try and get on top of him. Is the Abduct going to land? No, Snare comes through as now Chovy with his own destiny is looking for Nuguri. And now in the Dragon Pit are 3 members of DAMWON, and it feels like this is really not working out. The kick is very late, but we'll see whether it is actually going to work as Canyon falls to the damage of Deft, who is in a pretty decent position, but Keria, you can't say the same thing for him. Wildcard's not doing enough damage, and DAMWON just turn their attention over to Chovy, and Deft does not have the damage to take down this team. Chovy is able to get himself out, but Deft is not going to be so lucky, and DAMWON once again win the fight.
That was a very weird fight, but I would happily break it down in the replay the way that all started. Canyon, he jumped into the back line and was able to get actually the kick over the wall, even though it looked like he was just going to be burst down. But I think this is, again, DRX's kind of damage-lacking problems here because everybody's able to dive into the backside. These members of DAMWON are already so tanky, even with just the one Mountain Drake, and they just kind of get unpunished, like diving straight into the backline and doing nothing. Now they're going to go for the Baron here.
Yeah. It's not going to go down too quickly, and they don't have Canyon for the next little while, but there's no smite on the side of DRX. Chovy hasn't even bought it with his unsealed spellbook as the Baron going down low. It is taken by the Rend. ShowMaker's very low. Nuguri might be dying for his first time, but no, Magical Journey, one hell of a spell, and gets DAMWON out cleanly. This is the DAMWON we're expecting in this series.
Yep, they finally open up this game. They get a huge win down on the bottom side and very confidently just run at the Baron 5v3, no problemo. As you see coming in here, you're like, oh, you're going to go for the Karma. That's never going to work. And originally it doesn't. Chovy kind of gets in an awkward spot here where you see the top side is Ghost Canyon and BeryL. He's not really able to do any damage to those. And look at Canyon. He gets rooted up, but still he does his job, and they can't kill him.
Yeah.
They can't do anything to him, and he gets the perfect kick over the wall. Pyosik's out of it. And at the same time, they're able to get into that back line and take out the Karma so early on. So there's no shields the entire fight. And from there, they're ahead on members. They're able to just dog them down. Nuguri has a great follow-up there, by the way, in the backside where he flashes in and breaks some faces, brings everybody together, and is able to get in there. And it's not like they aced them. So after that, they run at the Baron anyway, and they're able to win a big fight over here, as they do have, of course, Kalista, which allows them to try to go for this kind of play and shut down any chance of a smite steal. And then, of course, Bard is the best support champion in the game, so yeah, just get right over the wall. And now DAMWON are just opening this one wide open as they're pushing down multiple lanes.
Yeah, ShowMaker takes the inner turret bottom side. There's a big minion wave stacking up top that DAMWON might need to deal with. But DRX look like they have absolutely no answer for what DAMWON's throwing out here. And I think what you were talking about with lack of damage is absolutely coming true. DRX not able to stem any of this bleeding. Bottom side, we do have Chovy now with this on his Hourglass completed. Close to a rapid fire cannon for Deft, but that's not going to change his damage values almost at all. And I don't know when the damage is going to come, you know? It's like, are we going to wait for 2,000 stacks on Senna in order to get us working? But I don't know.
Fight, we have to fight. They were calling the number as well. 1,500 for the Baron Smite and Ren. So amongst all the craziness of the team fight, they're also calling exactly when to go for the play onto the Baron.
Wow, just quietly, Ghost has got 3 items. 3 pretty good ones as well for doing a lot of damage in these fights. Nuguri very close to his 3rd in the Sterix gauge. And there's a casual ShowMaker who has a 300 gold bounty somehow after he seemed pretty invisible. But he has been flanking around and getting the work done on this Sylas. DAMWON are looking to take the last remaining inner turret. It'll be 6-0 in the turrets. DRX look a little bit lost.
Yeah, DRX took 0 turrets in this game. That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how they didn't manage to do that with some of the lanes they had, but I mean, it doesn't even look like they've done a lot of damage to any of the turrets either that are standing out there on the outside. And DAMWON, they got the Baron. They got so much gold on top of it with that huge Baron power play. And they get a, more importantly, 2nd Mountain Drake on top of it. I just don't know how they're going to punch through all the resistances that DAMWON have. All of their damage is kind of bursty, right? You have Karma with a Q that comes in, maybe a Mantra Q. You have TF, who gold cards you, and then he wild cards, so there's that burst. And then, of course, Deft is the sustained damage, but, you know, hasn't really been able to pick that off just yet or, you know, get a good position in the fight. So really he's their main hope in terms of trying to punch through DAMWON's tankiness, but I'm not sure if he can do it alone at this point from behind. They're down about 8,000 golds very closely as,
ow.
I guess that was Sylas from top lane, just stealing that and hitting Deft. I like it.
Probably does more damage than Deft's version, which is not so fair. Deft now has an Executioner's Calling. That's not really going to change too much. items that do change things, though. Rabbiton's Death Cap completed here for ShowMaker. We do have that DRX that we were talking about. That one is done now for Nuguri. DAMWON are just building more and more power and becoming more and more frightening. Even Mikhail's Crucible and a Shirelia's on BeryL. I feel like the flexibility of Bard's build paths is just insane. You can build basically whichever item you want.
You can just build whatever you need for the game. And he is like one of the support champions that can, you know, very easily do that. I know some others.
Rapid Fire Cannon, Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's my fave.
Dead Man's Plate, right?
Oh, baby.
Getting in there.
On hit Bard.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. You can even get tanky yourself. He goes for the Shirelias. I feel like that's a great item choice with his team comp that is lacking the damage. They need to get in the face of DRX. You can close the gap that way alongside of, you know, Tempered Fate Shirelias. You can Shirelias and everybody takes a magical journey out if they have to get out. He offers an insane amount of utility to this team, and at first we were like, you know, this Bard is kind of, you know, weird in this lane with Kalista, but it's all coming together, and it does make sense. And I think that DRX are going to have to stem the bleeding here. This might be one way.
Yep, 4 people versus 1 Lee Sin. I think we know how that one's going to work, and Chovy does find a very comfortable pickup onto Canyon. This might be their first turret as well. Insanity. Gold card to connect onto BeryL, but DAMWON not going to be too worried. Cleanse comes out from Ghost. That is going to be valuable. ShowMaker moves on over. Remember, there is still a Mikhail.
Aaron.
So, it's going to be okay. Nuguri splitting on the bottom side, pings down, and DAMWON, it looks like they're not really too worried about this Baron that's alive, and they're just going to... Okay, they'll take that inhibitor.
Does it really matter if they get Baron?
Well, DRX, you know that they love the Baron. Valdez, okay? Sometimes you just need to get it. There are so many people golden inside this Baron pit, Baron included. Inhibitor going to go down, and then Nuguri should be able to teleport to get himself in here. The Baron is going to go over to DRX, so at least they're able to do that, but looks like we're just going for the end of the game, which is what's going to win it for you. Okay, BeryL buys so much time. And now Doran's going to do what he can to try and stop this. Pyosik managed to get home, as now I think DAMWON will not be able to take down the Nexus. So, Baron secured at the cost of 2 Nexus turrets, an inhibitor, and an inhibitor turret.
Yeah, that was interesting trade. They might be able to get ShowMaker on top of this too, which could net them a... Man, he is...
Oh yeah, Chovy's so actually doing a lot of work here. He's got a Wit's End. That is super cool. And now has BeryL here on... Canyon here along... Canyon? That's Keria, Max. Okay, there we go. He has Keria down there. Concussive blows certainly working out. As, okay, Pyosik going to be able to get themselves to Soul Point. Do we have a flipped script? 5,000 gold Baron power play. They lost their Nexus turrets. Yes, that's a bad thing, okay? We could certainly have some smoke and mirrors from here on out, as LS likes to say. But if you're talking about financial issues, they're out of the woods, okay?
So what I thought was going to happen is that DAMWON was going to split push, get the inhibitor back away, take Mountain Drake. But instead, they were like, maybe we can end the game. And they almost did, right? They got in there with the TP. They had 2 members pushing. But the 2 that were left over to try to stop the backs, they have so little range that they're not really going to be able to stop the backs. Of course, it all starts here with the pick on the Canyon, who's just hanging out. I'm not really sure why he's just there alone in the bush without a ward. And you'll be able to see it here. Okay, they're delaying, right? Nuguri, just watch him. He's about to kill the inhibitor. Just get the inhibitor. The rest of them could have just backed away, gone down to Mountain. Somebody or 2 people have to go down and stop the push. But they lack the range. They can't stop the backs back in the Baron pit. And it's not enough to end the game. So because it was not, you end up losing so much. You know, the Baron power play is huge. A lot of kills going the way of DRX. They get their own Mountain Drake themselves.
The longest range card ever. As they went from 0 turrets to 3. Most of them being here in this mid lane is all right. We got Keria looking for Ghost. Tempered Fate is going to be the answer though. Keria still underneath this turret, playing very aggressively. But it feels like DRX have found something, and they found damage that they did not have for this entire game. Inhibitor turret to go down, and I think finally Deft has some of those stacks that we talk about so often. It was not there earlier on, but now DRX are pushing in for a win. ShowMaker is dead for another 40 seconds. Oh, okay, we're gonna go for a base race as Canyon might just fall down here. BeryL in a lot of trouble. Dawning Shadow comes in. Nexus is exposed, but Nuguri's trying to fight it, and DRX take it in a last-minute base race. This was looking like DAMWON